Good evening. If you remember, we opened our highlights programme from here at Sandwich last night with the hole-in-one by Gordon Brand of Yorkshire at the 16th. Well, that happened at 7:30 last night. Well, just before 11:30 this morning, we had another young man on that same 16th tee, 165 yards long. It was the amateur from Langley Park, Roger Chapman, and this is what happened.
One of the young amateurs in the field, Roger Chapman, tee shot at the 16th hole. This is the hole that we saw a one at yesterday with Gordon Brand. And that's pretty good too. That dives in for another one. And what a lovely moment. Just loosen the flag a touch. And there it is. What a place to get a hole in one. A day he'll always remember.
Isn't that amazing? Two of them within, about 16 hours or so. And young Chapman went on to complete his round with 76. Right, well now let's have a look at the overnight leaderboard as it stood when we came here this morning. And Bill Rogers of the United States was in a one-stroke lead, 2 under par, from Ben Crenshaw, his fellow American, and Nick Job of Great Britain. And in 4th place was the young German Bernhard Langer. Well, very early on, as the leaders went out, Ben Crenshaw began to drop away. He made a really bad start, and for being 1 under, he went to 2 over. And Nick Job, fairly early on, he dropped a shot as well. So at this point, Bill Rogers was now 4 strokes clear in the lead. Well, let's join Rogers now on the par 4 8th. He's 3 under, and he's got this putt for a birdie.
That's travelling. Oh, my goodness, and sure enough. Well. A putt to rival that of Terry Wogan's in the winter. That really was a very, very long putt indeed.
So he went to 4 under. Well, then he dropped a stroke at the 10th, and that was the only stroke so far that he dropped. We're going to join him now. He's back to 3 under par. Here is Bill Rogers of the United States on the 14th tee, the par 5 hole.
14th tee, the championship leader, as Bill Rogers cracks his tee shot away and looks to be off the fairway. He's okay though. By that I mean he's not out of bounds over in Prince's golf course. The clubhouse of Prince's. The other end now, Ben Crenshaw looking down the fairway. That's also a bit down the right side of the fairway. 16th now, Jacqueline for a 2. Just not enough borrow. Tidy putt though. Good 3. Bernhard Langer. 3rd shot, this for an eagle. Chased it from the rough, and he's chased that one into the hole. Isn't it again, this golf? Oh, word. An eagle 3. th. Cheers ringing in his ears. Mark James puts for a 2, and there'll be another great whoop and hollering if this goes in. And has he hit it hard in? No, he just hasn't. That's a 3 though for Mark James, who remains level par with just 2 holes to play. At the 14th, now back to the 14th. Well, Bernhard Langer playing with Nick Job, hold a monster for a 3, an eagle. Now Job has a chance to follow him in. Unlucky. Just slid across the face of the hole. So Langer, who missed the fairway and had to smash it out and rely on a lot of run to just reach the front of the green, holds a 20-yard putt. And Job, who's played the hole beautifully, has this tester for his birdie 4. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? So it's just a par 5. And the last group out on the course, the last pair, Rogers and Crenshaw. Rogers very much on that upslope. You see, this is one of the features here in the course. You hardly ever get a level stance. Rogers not a long hitter, using a little wood, as you can see. Just hits that one straight up in the air. It'll probably carry right on the green, I would have thought, with a wood from back there. Yes, almost to the very edge of the green, and that's a good one. Just running to the back. So Rogers going along very nicely indeed. Crenshaw. Still on the leaderboard at 4 over par. He's 5 over par today. Another one, a little bit offline, and again, has it caught trouble? No, it may have just stayed on top of the hill. Yes, there it is. Oh, not far from the flag for Crenshaw.
Just ahead of them on the 15th tee, Nick Job preparing to drive. Very disappointing they didn't get a birdie at the last. Got to put that behind him. Well, that's okay. Now, with his Eagle 3, Langer drove first, and Alex Hayes down there. Alex, where's he put his ball?
Well, Bruce, I'm not going to underestimate this young German anymore after I misjudged the last hole. He's hit this ball at least 320 yards. He's carried that bunker on the right. He's down the fairway and just a few yards on the fairway. Perfect tee shot. Nick Job just 260 yards opposite that bunker on the right.
Thanks, Alex. Well, of course, this hole playing downwind, normally one of the most feared of par 4s here at Sandwich. The prevailing wind, the usual wind, is against and from the right. But today, definitely one, I suppose, of the relatively soft options here at Sandwich. Having said that, the second shot, of course, still has to find the very small Humpty Green. And being downwind, and even when you get that close to the greens, it's very difficult to get any backspin on the ball. And so really the ball has to be pitched on the front edge of the green and allowed to run up to the hole. Jack Lynn second to the 17th. Kept kept his head down well. And duly rewarded. What a super shot. Now Mark James's turn. And he came up on it a bit quick, and definitely not such a good shot. Back down this little bank, well, 6-foot bank at the 17th.
On the 14th, Crenshaw and Rogers. Crenshaw first to play. Just a tricky little shot out of that stubbly grass on top of the bunker. Yeah, lovely touch. That's a birdie for
Nick Joe, second to the 15th. Started that a little bit right, but bringing it back. And pitched it short of the green, and there it is running up. Lovely shot. Lovely shot. Birdie chance. And he needs one now. Could really do with a break. He hasn't had any sort of luck this afternoon at all.
Rogers at the 14th. Long putt for an eagle 3. Not a bad effort from there. Birdies are always nice to get.
Bernhard Langer with his second to the 15th. And a very lofted club. That was started left. Also a good one. And softly, but a much more difficult putt than that of Nick Joe.
Rogers for his birdie 4 at the 14th. This to go 4 under. All the way. Played quite splendidly today. 5 at the 7th, which is a par 5, and a 5 at the 10th. All the rest 3s and 4s. Crenshaw now just finishing off his. This is for a birdie 4. To bring him to 3 over par for the championship.
Mark James from the bank, from the bottom of the bank, in front of the 17th green, third shot. What a great shot, what a great shot. It must fall. No. Well, he had one a couple of holes ago that did exactly the same. And whilst he'll be pretty pleased to have got that close from where he was, a little birdie in his mind will be saying, well, it really might have dropped in for me. He stays even, 4 behind the leader. Now Tony Jacklin with this really very short one after that super second shot. This for a 3. It's a birdie for Tony. 2 over today, 4 over for the championship. We go back a couple of holes to Bernhard Langer. The battle for second place hots up anyway. The lead changing between James and Langer and Job all the time.
Eighteenth tee and Mark James.
Where's the cut?
Played for the cut, didn't get it, and a lot will depend on how that settles. It's not very thick there, but it's fluffy. But he's got a good line into the flag.
And we'll go back to Langer again. He's got to come up over quite a ridge. The ball will break from his left to start with, go up over the top of the ridge and come back from the right down as it comes down the other side. A very, very tricky putt. And he didn't get it right. Well, still smiling. Really putting up a most wonderful performance in this championship. He's had a great season on the European Tour, but playing in an Open Championship is something very, very different. The sheer size of the event, the masses of tents and caravans and officials and stands. For the members who normally play here, they say they cannot recognize the course that they've grown to know and love. Totally different, it appears. Anyway, Nick Job, this for a birdie at the 15th. Come on, that's it. That's the one we want, and so did he. First birdie of the day for Nick Job. And he even gave us a little nod as well.
The 15th with Crenshaw and Rogers, both lying but 1 yard apart, just in the semi-rough on the right by the second right-hand bunker. Crenshaw actually lying a little bit cleaner. Rogers got a rather clovery lie, but he can certainly reach the green from there. He's 200 yards to go. The pin today placed over on the right side in that narrow little tongue over on the back right, and not really a shot that can be attacked. I would imagine Rogers, particularly as he plays with a bit of a fade, will come in from the left.
Langer for his par. Yes, just did it. Ooh. He didn't think he'd hit it hard enough. But it's got to the bottom of the hole. And he will stay 1 under par. Well, we go back 100 and some odd yards. These players are waiting for the green ahead to clear, which it will now be doing. And there's the shot they've got. And that's it. Those bunkers, some 30, 40 yards short of the green, shouldn't come into play today unless these players, being in the fluffy rough, don't get good contact. The pin just in the end, the right-hand end of that stand, flag flying just above Rogers' head as we look at it. Second shot for Rogers at the 15th. Quite a lot of grass claim with that. Oh, Nobody's made it, and that's... Oh, down the bank we go, and left himself with a very tricky little up and over shot with very little green to work with. Now, what can Crenshaw have learnt from that? Only what I suspect he knew already, that you can't get any backspin out of this rough. You've got to pitch it over those cross bunkers in front of the green, get it up onto the green, and then get it to stop. Or rather, hope that it will stop. Really wants to aim a little bit to the left of the pin. There's a lot more green there.
Mark James, second shot to the 18th. From quite thickish rough. If you can get this though on line, he can chase it out of here. Mustn't chase it too much out of bounds, very close behind this green. And away to the right of the green. And, well, leaves himself quite a fair little pitch. There's quite an area of green to land on, but the ball seemed to nestle down. Jacqueline from the same sort of area. Jacqueline needing a 4 for a round of 72. He's played a different shot, trying to keep the ball lower and on line and chase it, and he's also missed the green. Pretty well the same line as James. Bernhard Langer's tee shot at the 16th. Oh, very good. Recorded. Now, back live. Nick Job, having 3-putted the 14th, got a birdie at the 15th, has put his tee shot into sand. This great championship being seen all around the world. Our friends in Australia, I'm sure in New Zealand, and ABC television from the United States are here. Our friends from Japan, millions of golfers throughout the world watching play here today.
Bill Rogers then, leading again by 3 strokes. At one time, of course, Langer, with that eagle at the 14th, got to within 2 strokes of Rogers, until Rogers hit back with his own birdie at the 14th. Mark James now 4 strokes off the lead, holding 3rd place on his own. And then you get a 2-stroke gap before you come to Nick Job, holding 5th place now. And Aoki and Floyd, both having finished, are 7 strokes back. And so is Ben Crenshaw, who's out there, of course, playing in company with Rogers.
Nick Job out of the bunker at the 16th. Really should be a simple shot. Looks to be lying well. I made heavy weather of it.
Crenshaw at the 15th. Things really haven't been going for him today, and I think perhaps he's been trying to force it along, and luck really not on his side. He's just kicked off down the hand side of the green here on a rather bare lie. 2 shots available. He can try and pitch it on the green with a lofted club going into the breeze, or he might try a slightly lower shot just into the bank and let it run out.
Tried the latter. And that was the result. Almost a certain shot dropped.
The 18th green and Mark James' third shot. You can see there's no sight of the ball at all. Steady, could go over the hill and down the slope. Bernhard Langer, 16th for a 2. No.
Rogers at the 15th. Learned a bit from Crenshaw's shot and got it nearly dead.
Langer in for a par 3 at the 16th.
Back to the 15th, and it will be Ben Crenshaw trying to, yet again, as he's had to do on so many. Well, I'm glad he didn't do that on the green, but it only demonstrates the frustration that this round has caused him. He's really played, for him, thoroughly badly. Clumsy sort of round of golf. Silly shots, easy shots, missing the green. And he knows he's letting a really wonderful position after 2 rounds slip right away from him. Well, this is exactly the putt we saw Job hole a few minutes ago. That's right, you take it out on the green.
18th green though, Mark James for a 4. This for a round of 68. And oh, very, 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 very good, and that'll please the old tooth tugger from Romsey. Very good indeed, marvellous stuff. He's right there with just 1 round to go. And I got him at 66 to 1. Very good score from Mark James, full of courage, got good shots. Job at the 16th. This for a par 3. Good putt again, but it's stroke gone. 18th, Jacklin for his 4. And it's tough. That's a 5 for Jacklin. He's 5 over for the championship. Always disappointing to finish the round by dropping a stroke like that.
Langer on the 17th tee. And that's a very, very long shot indeed. That's an absolutely enormous one.
Sixteenth green, and there's nearly the player's eye view of it. See how the pin is tucked away. You just see the top half. That's why it's important to know where the flag is positioned on the green. This is Bill Rogers, the championship leader. The hole 165 yards. Splendid shot. Watson coming up to the 18th green. second. He's now 6 over par for the championship, 4 over today. Torrance, who's with him, is 4 over for the championship. 16th, Ben Crenshaw's tee shot. Yeah, good shot.
Bernhard Langer hit a very long drive up the 17th once again, and he almost made it through the little cluster of hillocks and hummocks, but now he's lying only 1 inch off the fairway, but his right foot will have to be a good foot higher than his left, so although 120 yards from the green, a most awkward stance.
Well, if he's only got 120 yards to go, that means with this hole being 425 yards, he's knocked this one over 300 yards. And following him up, the face of officialdom, Mike Houston. And I don't expect he has this particular point marked from the green on his yardage chart.
There's a scene at the 18th green. Watson, right, and the crowd on the edge of the grandstand at the 18th. He's had a free drop away from the railings, but he's got a very awkward shot indeed. Oh, he played it well. Ah, well, but look at it spin on. Watson has had a very unhappy run over the last 5 holes. From the 13th, he took 5 at 14. That was okay. That's a par 5, but he took 6 at the 17th hole. So from the turn, he's dropped 4 strokes. Now 6 over par for the championship, and that's 10 strokes behind Rogers. Much can happen, but it would seem to be a big handicap.
Well, he's waiting to play his, what will be his 4th shot. We'll go back and see how Bernhard Langer attempts to play this shot. Looking at it for a long time, trying to get a mental picture of just how the ball will fly, what it'll do when it lands. He's thrown it right up in the air, and he pitched it on the green, and oh dear, there's some pretty rough grass. Oh, get the handbag out of the way, madam. Make certain you haven't got the ball in it. Well, I think he might well have been a bit lucky there.
The 18th, and Tom Watson playing 4. And that one pulled up very quickly. Recorded. Now this is live, and this is for a 5. He gets, but he finishes with a 6 at the 17th and a 5 at the 18th, and now is 7 over par, the defending champion Tom Watson. Now the last pair out on the course. The 16th green, Rogers and Crenshaw. Rogers with this for a 2, this to go 5 under. Looks good. Texarkana, Texas. Bill Rogers 5 under.
Well, after that birdie, Bill Rogers safely parred in at the 17th and 18th to finish 5 under for the 3 rounds. Bernhard Langer, well, he dropped a stroke at the 17th, came in with a 70, level par for the championship, and Mark James, Great Britain, had a fine round of 68 to share second place with Langer. Now both Nick Job and Ben Crenshaw dropped shots at the 18th, and Crenshaw finished 5 over for the 3 rounds, as indeed did Tony Jacklin of Great Britain, and I spoke to Tony afterwards about his round.
Yes, the 3rd round's an important round, Harry, and I just let it slip a bit. 73 wasn't as good as I would have wanted. I got off to a bad start the 5 again. I've had 3 5s on the first hole, and then I had a lapse in the middle of the round. I bogeyed the 9th, and then I 3-putted the 11th and the 12th, and they go away so easily. And I dropped one on the last, which was disappointing. It's always disappointing to... I would have liked to have done better today.
Now, in the normal course of events, you see your position wouldn't be too bad, but Mr. Rogers being 5 under now is making it difficult for everybody else now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up to him now, really. I mean, we all as golfers know what strange things can happen at golf, but a 5-shot lead to an experienced man like Bill Rogers is a terrific lead. If the weather remains reasonably settled, I was interested to hear him comment today that the fact that he didn't have to compromise himself, the weather was such that he didn't have to make shots up. And when you get an American in that situation, they are tough to beat. And we saw from his homeward stretch how many great iron shots he hit. And he is going to be tough to beat. He's a very seasoned and hardened professional.
So what would you say for the weather tomorrow? To bring everybody a bit closer together, let the old wind blow?
Well, you'd need wind. You need wind to make a match of it. Otherwise, I would very much say... And you see, there's only Mark James and Bernhard Langer that are within... really 5 shots of him. Other than that, you jump to 8 shots, and those players, unless they shoot 63s and 64s, and well, they rarely happen on last days of Opens. They usually happen in dreams, don't they?
But all in all, you must be very happy with what's happened here.
I'm happier. I would have, as I say, I'd like to do a good round tomorrow and get really right up there. My confidence is back, and well, I feel I'm enjoying it again, and that's the main thing. If you're doing something all the time, you've got to enjoy it.
That's good to hear, Tony. Anyway, good luck tomorrow. I hope it goes very well.
Thanks, Harry.
By the way, I mentioned for another British player, Nick Faldo, had a fine 69 today, and he's 4 over for the championship. The best round today was scored by Brian Jones of Australia. He came in with a 66, and he is 5 over. Well, the cut tonight was made at 12 over par. There'll be 61 players coming back for tomorrow's final round, and among them will be Jack Nicklaus and Severiano Ballesteros. But I'm afraid one man won't be there, and that's Gary Player, the former Open champion. Well, the question is now, what will the weather be like tomorrow? Will the wind blow? Will Bill Rogers be able to hold on to that 5-stroke lead? Well, you can find out by joining us tomorrow in Sunday Grandstand, and that starts at 1:55 on BBC Two. Now, from Sandwich, good night. Good evening. The final day of this Open Championship was all set up to be the American Bill Rogers Day. But the question still had to be answered. Would he falter, or would somebody behind him come with a really determined challenge? Let's just remind ourselves of how the score stood when they started off earlier this afternoon. As we can see, Bill Rogers had a clear 5 strokes lead over Mark James of Britain and Bernhard Langer of Germany, and then 3 more strokes behind them came Isao Aoki of Japan and Ray Floyd of the United States. Well, very early on in this last day, both Aoki and Faldo faltered badly, and none of the other people round about there were making any significant progress. And so we really had a championship down to just 4 players: Rogers, James, Langer and Floyd. Now, as we join it, Floyd and James are both 2 over par. Langer is level par, and Bill Rogers, who's now standing on the 7th tee, has a 4 strokes lead over the whole field.
Smile, I think, says it. Is it going to go in the rough? Yes, but, you know, not too bad. Should get a wood at that. Now Mark James. That's not going to go in the rough. That's very, very good. This hole, long, dogleg, turns left at about 250, 260 yards. And having come over a great sort of mass of humps and hollows and big deep bunkers and what have you, it then comes out onto a very flat area, which you can see behind Ray Floyd, who's up ahead, putting for a birdie 4. Another birdie for Raymond Floyd. Birdies back to back. 2 at the 6th, 4 at the 7th. Also going for a birdie, Bernhard Langer. Yes. That's more like it. 1 under for Langer. 3 away from Rogers. There's Rogers' problem. That's the shot he's got left, but being out of the bunker, at least he can get on the green. So they might try and play some sort of a punch shot as opposed to a bunker shot. No. Well, shouts are 4. Oh, and he's miles away. He's over there somewhere. And that's what he's got left, and that really is... well, he must have got a little bit thin, I suspect, and that's right. You gentleman with the pipe, keep him away. Don't let him tread on it. No. That's his moment of glory for the championship.
Langer, who has been spraying the ball a little bit off the tee today, but he's been coming back remarkably well, putted well, and made a couple of birdies. Well, I have no idea where that is. Everybody's looking as if it might be on the side of that hill in the heavy grass, and this would be a very, very difficult shot for Langer. Now, Floyd, who has dropped a shot at the 1st and then birdied the 2nd, 6th, and 7th, and is mounting the most serious challenge of the day to Rogers. This is his 2nd shot. Look at this. Floyd almost made a 2 at 8, and that is going to be not a certain birdie, but an almost certain birdie, and this would be his 3rd consecutive birdie and take Floyd down to even par for the championship.
So Rogers, with problems here, thinned his 3rd shot right through, landed behind the scoreboard. The referee's rulebook is out, and he's going to get a free drop over to the left-hand side, but still a very tricky little chip coming down a bank, all sorts of rough ground ahead of him, and so much now just depends on the lie he gets when he drops.
Anyway, let's see what he can make of this. He can still get a par there with a good chip. Well, he's failed to reach the green, and things getting worse and worse for the leader.
Bernhard Langer just behind, and the 8th green. He's pulled it into an absolutely dreadful position. It's the most awkward chip, although it's only 25 feet to the flag. His ball is sitting nicely, but about 10 feet of rough between him and the green, and nothing to land the ball on.
Now, oh, that's almost a brilliant shot, but it stopped up short, held up short. Not much more he could do with that. He's still got a reasonable chance of saving par 4.
This 4 or 5. So unless he has a good chip, he's going to drop 2 shots. But a bit of positive thinking. He's had the pin taken out. Well, quite a good one, but not quite dead.
Now this is Langer to save a 4 at 8. He's made a bunch of these. And again, Langer has really found himself a putting stroke here of late, and he remains 1 under par. Now, our first look at a man that we thought would be probably in the last group here today, Tom Watson, the defending champion. Watson 2 over par for the championship, or for the round rather, 9 over par for the championship, and he's to the left of the green. Started off 7 over, dropped a shot at the second, birdied 5 and 6, dropped a shot at 11, birdied 12, dropped shots at 13 and 14 again, birdied 16 and dropped 1 at 17. So it's an up and down round for Watson and an up and down championship for Watson. This is Floyd for a birdie at 8. If he should make it and Rogers somehow should miss his putt, Floyd would be within 2 shots of the lead. And Langer indeed within 1 shot of the lead. Right in, the 3rd consecutive birdie for Ray Floyd. Even par for the championship. 3 under for today's round.
So with all that noise going on ahead, Rogers this for a 6 and a drop shot. No, it's, oh, that was a really, oh, he's, the nerves getting at him now. That's a terrible 7. And his lead is cut to 1 shot. Well, Floyd has the tougher of the second shots of his pairing. He's got to fly it in over these big left-hand bunkers. And he's had a 5, a 4 and a 3, so he really needs to hold this to keep the progression going. Oh, and that's a pretty good one, but it's over the green and down the bank, and, well, quite a steep bank there. He's got to come up, and the pin's only just the other side of it. Remember, only 1 behind Rogers now. And it's amazing how quickly the scene changes. A birdie from this chap and a 1 over from the man behind, and it's all changing. Langer, second shot to the 9th. Yeah, he pitched on the bank, which gave it a lot of forward momentum, and it's a pretty good one. And that's another birdie chance, but it's a pretty semicircular sort of putt.
So Rogers leaving his second shot a little bit short on the 8th, also a bit right, and leaving himself an extremely difficult putt. Now this one is a 20-yarder, but after the first 5 yards he's got a mound to go right over directly in his line, and he'll really be doing very well indeed to get down here in 2.
Well, there's a beautiful putt from 20 yards, and it's only about 2 feet short. We did, however, see him miss one of about this distance at the 7th. So he's got to just pop this one right in the middle.
Up ahead of the 9th green, Raymond Floyd surveying. Really quite a difficult chip. on, go on, go on. No, it's stopped. Oh, he just had to get over. Only wanted an ounce more and that would have rolled right down to the hole. Langer for a birdie. At the 9th. That was almost running at right angles at the end. That was a great, great try.
This is Rogers for par. That's the better. Right in the middle. So Rogers makes par at 8.
Let's see if Ray Floyd can stay at even par by holding this putt. And he really did have a bit of a dribble there, I'm afraid. It's such a difficult putt, such a tricky one. Just couldn't afford to hit it hard. And that's a stroke drop. On the 9th tee, Bill Rogers starts it down the left, which is the right thing to do. Oh, bit of luck there. And there's James's ball some 20 or 30 yards ahead of him. James in very good position.
Now David Graham, the reigning United States Open champion, acknowledges the applause of the appreciative crowds around 18. Graham, 8 over for the championship, 2 over for today's round.
And Rogers there with his second shot obviously must be feeling a little more settled now in view of the previous hole. Has a stroke of 140 yards, the wind blowing off the left, and I would think an 8-iron shot for him.
Well, that's the right line to start it off on. Oh, and could that be the one which changes the tide? That is a really great shot and an almost certain birdie. There's a shot that Mark James has got. Slightly easier angle. Another fine one. And that might be the shot to get Mark James coming into contention.
Langer now, second shot to the 10th. One short, one big. Well, there. No.
Bill Rogers for his birdie at the 9th. Three under once again. Oh, recorded Mark James' attempt for a birdie, which took place before Rogers' putt. Well done, Mark. Big swing, safely in the hole.
So this really now is turning into a very, very interesting battle, because there is not many strokes now between the top 4 people. And with Langer in trouble over the back of the 10th, and Rogers beginning to play well again, well, Floyd here might well be the man to make the ultimate challenge, and possibly Mark James, who just had that excellent birdie at the 9th.
Langer's just chipped up. He was almost right underneath our tower. We couldn't get a view of him chipping, but he appears to have played a good one. Oh, a good one. I should think he has played a good one. That's in for 4, and pressure back on Ray Floyd, who has a 14-foot putt or so for his par 4. Langer remains 1 under. Rogers, I'm sure he'll play the direct air route. And he's got the game back in gear again. That's another superb shot. Very holeable putt for a 3. Trevino, little putt here at the 14th, up ahead for a birdie. This to go to 4 over.
Yes.
Needs a couple of birdies, one feels, in the last 2 or 3, or maybe 3 birdies if he's going to snatch this title, which he's done before today. Back to Rogers, 10th for a birdie 3. Very slow, small backswing, but he's got it rolling. 2 birdies in a row for Rogers, and he will be feeling much better now. 2 good 3s. Floyd, though.
In the bunker at 11. Oh, that's a wonderful one. And just look where it came out from.
There's Ben Crenshaw, 18th. Giving a great cheer. Very popular young man who's a great supporter of our championship. Loves the game of golf. Disappointing championship for him. 76 yesterday.
Now Langer's ball was obviously so close to Floyd's that he had to pick it up while Floyd played, and can only hope that he can play as good a shot as Raymond Floyd. Very difficult sand, this, very soft, very white, very fluffy. Not at all typical of what these golfers meet day after day in the tournament circuit. Well, very, very good. Pales a bit into insignificance beside Floyd's shot, but a good one nevertheless. Well, there's Rogers back on the tee, same hole, watching what's going on. Now, of course, he's got a 3-shot lead over this chap, which would increase to 4 should he miss this putt. And suddenly the gap is wide indeed, widened again. Well, the palpitations are now under control again, I would think. Those 2 magnificent birdies at 9 and 10, when the heat was really on, showed the mettle of this man. Oh, well, he hasn't fully benefited, and just where Langer and Floyd were a moment ago. And I hope they've raked the bunker, otherwise there could be a foot mark or 2. Played it very quickly and pretty well. Very similar shot to that of Langer.
Langer from that hanging lie. This hole 362 yards. And using the slope very cunningly. And not ending up too far from the hole.
Well, Rogers missed his putt a moment ago while Floyd was hitting his second. And he's not dead yet. He's certainly lost 1 shot. And remember, this is a very deceptive green. I've missed many putts shorter than this in the Halford Hewitt over the years, I can assure you, on this green. And I've never given putts here either. But no problem for a quality golfer. But it's a shot gone, and his lead is back to 3. James for a par. And he stays at 1 over.
Langer for a 3 at 12th. And just fell away as Floyd's did before him. And that's a 4 for Langer, who remains at level par, 3 behind Rogers. Rogers' ball at the 12th in there, and look at this one. Well, he had 2 birdies in a row, dropped a stroke at the long, short hole, the 11th, and now he's just peppered one almost into the hole. Brilliant. Sixteenth tee. And there's Sam Torrance. This was a recording of Torrance playing this very famous 16th hole. We've had a couple of ones here, young Chapman and Gordon Brand, and that's a good-looking shot. And he's done it again. 3 holes in 1 at the 16th. Here's James at the 12th. Rather tranquil out at the 12th. But James in a big hole, and if he can just get a clean one out. Could be in another bunker or even short of it. Just, oh, look at that, perched right on the edge. That could be a very difficult shot for him. Mark James having decided he's going to flip it up this way. Does it very well indeed. Steady, steady, steady. Nearly a good one. Oh, he's topped it. And Mark has got a little hot round the collar. Hardly surprising. Things just going against him at the wrong time. Rogers live for a 3. And he's in. James tapped his in, took 6. Rogers got a 3. 3-shot swing there at the 12th.
Well, after that, Rogers began to play very steady golf indeed. Par after par came along. Floyd and James, well, they could make no impression at all, and the only man staying within reasonable touch of the leader was the German Bernhard Langer. Even so, when Rogers came to the 18th tee for his final drive in this championship, he was still 4 strokes ahead.
Come on, Ryan.
He tries a 4, and he's not in the monstrous rough. And he's on the right side of the fairway to play his second into the green. But now, can Bernhard Langer finish in a blaze of glory? This for a birdie 3. Beautiful effort. Quiet young man from West Germany has a super open. Yes, well held. Hardly waiting. Rogers wants to get on with it. He's all pumped up and flying now. Whacks it out of that thickish rough safely, some 50 yards, 60 yards short of the green, and maybe 85 yards or 90 yards from the flag. Perfectly safe. 4 strokes ahead. And traditionally, rather like the last night of the proms, the spectators scamper forward. In amongst there is Bill Rogers somewhere, but I think he's got some of the lads in blue looking after him. This is now quite a traditional scene, because in the old days the players used to be in with the spectators all the time. Here they come. There's one of them through.
Let the referee through, please.
Bill Rogers. Rogers playing his third shot. 4 strokes ahead, so he can afford a few from here. Oh, what a way to finish. Lovely shot. Oh, you can see the tension falling away from his face. Now Mark James, who's battled away so well, 2 putts from here, and he will tie for 3rd place with Raymond Floyd. A little shy. James for a 4 at the 18th, and a total of 2-8-3 for 4 rounds. Come on. Oh. Well done. Quite a scene. Well done, Mark James. Battled away very well. A couple of slices of bad luck today, but he kept going very well indeed. Now Bill Rogers, the champion. 4 strokes in hand, but still concentrating. Desperately trying to get this one in. Just twice as long as the one that Mark James just held. And it's right in the middle. And there he is with Harry Carpenter.
Bill, on behalf of everybody around this 18th green, can I say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, you said to me before you went out for the last round that you were going to play attacking golf, and you certainly did that.
May have over-attacked a couple times, especially on the par 5-7, and kind of let things get away from me right there. But I don't know, I had confidence in the way I was playing, and fortunately got things back on track, and things started kind of going my way again, and fortunately nobody just really, Bernhard played an awful good round and just never really got it get way under par and kind of let me keep breathing.
How conscious were you of the other scores being done?
Well, I was a little bit conscious, especially after I'd made the double bogey on 7. I knew that about got me even again, and we were going to have to start over. But fortunately, I was still 1 shot up and still leading the golf tournament, so I had confidence that I could keep it going, and then good birdies on 9 and 10 really got the confidence back. And you know, fortunately, I was able to kind of bump it on in.
What was it like coming up the 18th?
Well, I said in the papers it's got to be the most unique thrill, and well, in any sport, I'd have to say, and especially in our sport of golf. It's the most fantastic thing I've ever witnessed, and I apologize to the policeman that I hit back there trying to get through the. Hope they don't hold that against me, but it's easily the biggest thrill of my life, and I tell you, these golf fans are so unique and so great, and really appreciate good golf.
And so Bill Rogers, the only man to break par over the 4 rounds of this championship, takes the first prize, the trophy, and £25,000. One interesting coincidence: 4 former Open champions, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, and Tony Jacklin, all finished 10 over par. Well, another astonishing thing about this championship was that we had 3 holes in one, and thanks to the efficiency and the hard work of our technicians, we managed to cover all 3. The first one came late on Friday evening.
Gordon Brand on the 16th tee. Got a good round going today. 4 under par, but 4 over for the championship. This hole 165 yards, par 3. And he's reduced it to a single blow.
So one of the young amateurs in the field, Roger Chapman, tee shot at the 16th hole. This is the hole that we saw a 1 at yesterday with Gordon Brand. And that's pretty good too. That dives in for another 1. 16th tee. And there's Sam Torrance. This was a recording of Torrance playing this very famous 16th hole. We've had a couple of 1s here, young Chapman and Gordon Brand, and that's a good-looking shot. And he's done it again. 3 holes in 1 at the 16th.
Well, isn't that amazing? I can't imagine there's ever been an Open Championship before that's ever had 3 holes in 1. Well, there were a lot of misgivings about bringing the Open back to Sandwich after 32 years, but in fact, it's been a resounding success from all points of view, and I can't imagine that we shall have to wait another 32 years before it comes back here again. Good night.